Welcome back to Winners and Losers, the show that looks at the highs and the lows from around world football this weekend. As always, we're starting with the talking point, and yes, this weekend you guys voted for us to chat about Alexis Sanchez's imminent transfer to potentially Manchester United. But first and foremost, we're feeling a little bit worse for wear today. We spent the weekend in Dublin for another transfer, and it's a shocker. John Babb could be leaving football daily. Oh my word.
John Babb, legends never die, long live the owl.
Deary, deary me. But yes, we're hungover, and this game made us feel even worse, didn't it, Hamster?
Oh, I'm still hungover, rolling into Monday thanks to this bad boy.
Oof.
And the Arsenal fans we were with, in Dave, George and Sav, weren't happy bunnies either, and rightly so. This was a terrible game, totally devoid of quality. Huge congratulations to Eddie Howe's Bournemouth, though. Their first victory against Arsenal and their first victory against top six opposition since December 2016 when they beat Liverpool 4-3. That was a doozy. This wasn't, although Bournemouth had to come from behind.
Yes.
With goals from Callum Wilson and Jordan Ibe, I thought was pretty handy all game, securing the vital 3 points to them. Now, there were some positives coming into this game for Arsenal. Jack Wilshere returned after that slight knock.
Yeah, thank goodness it's nothing serious.
The occasional captain. Who was captain of this game?
Petr Cech.
Petr Cech. Had the most touches in the game and made the most passes, but he wasn't the driving force you're sort of hoping to be in this game, surrounded by players with relatively little experience. Holding and Chambers, they've started a few games together this season, haven't they? But Maitland-Niles as well, Hector Bellerin. There was just a lack of star quality in the Gunners' side, and in the absence of Alexis Sanchez and Mesut Ozil, the creative spot wasn't there. Iwobi did okay. That pass for the first goal was fine, but I think they only had 3 shots on target on the day.
Not good enough.
Alexander Lacazette a little bit goal shy, and you can see why Alexis Sanchez wants out of this club, Joseph.
You can.
They have not managed that squad well over the last 2 or 3 years. They've let opportunities slip through their fingers to sign big players. Xhaka.
What's happened to him?
I mean, I defended the Swiss man prior to this game. I said, you know, the guy's got a 30-yard, 40-yard ping in him. Not many people in that Arsenal setup have. And even his passing was awry in this game. Joe, Wenger was not a happy bunny after this game, was he? Didn't storm out of the press conference.
No.
But left it and had a few choice words to say about Alexis Sanchez's future en route out of the room. Let's have a look at that right now.
Name.
Arsene, is there any suggestion that Alexis doesn't want to play?
No, I didn't say that. Alexis would have played. No, Alexis would have played, but it's a different period for him. You know, he has always been committed until now, but he could have moved yesterday, today, or not. It will be decided in the next 48 hours. But it was a bit different for him because he was on standby a little bit, and that's why I decided not to do it. He did not refuse to play.
Yeah, last week it looked like Alexis was extremely close to joining Manchester City. Pep Guardiola was desperate to sign him. He wanted to bolster his attacking presence. And I think it's fair to say Alexis Sanchez wanted to join the best team in England and the best coach right now. He's obviously played with him at Barcelona as well. But then suddenly, 11th hour, Manchester United come in, and they come in with big bucks. Big agent fees, big wages, and a bigger bid to Arsenal. And now all of a sudden, it looks like a move to Manchester United is likely to happen. I'm absolutely delighted if we can pull it off. And it certainly seems like Jose Mourinho is a little bit more confident about making it happen, judging by these 2 clips.
You know my answers about that is Arsenal player. So I don't talk about the players. They are not in my team now, unless today. Today will not be good, so we have the squad we have. I don't know what's going to happen in this transfer window, and we have to finish with that players. We're going to finish if we can buy someone because we have 4 competitions, a lot of games, and we're going to try.
What we believe really is that there are some players in football world, if you have a chance to sign them, it doesn't matter if it is in January, in March, or in July, you have to try.
And you can see why Jose would go in so hard for him on that right-hand side. You're a little bit light. I'm a big fan of Juan Mata, but Alexis Sanchez would be a huge upgrade on the Spaniard at this point, wouldn't he? You can also see why Pep would want him. He's competing on 4 fronts. Alexis isn't cup-tied in the Champions League or the FA Cup.
That's a great
Manchester City don't necessarily have out-and-out striking options in the absence of Gabriel Jesus, should anything happen to Aguero. Although, rumour has it, Jesus is just about over his injury already.
It's incredible.
Apparently he was going to be out for 3 months. Not so much. But Joseph, what sort of impact do you think the Chilean would have on Manchester United should he arrive on Mancunian shores?
Oh, massive impact. I think we probably give him the number 7 shirt, which is currently vacant. He'd probably operate on that right-hand side, and it's just a big move. I think Jose Mourinho maybe needed this. It's almost, I think, in his head, it's seen as a little bit of a victory over Pep Guardiola, signing a player that Pep wanted as well. I don't know whether it actually is, but he is quite petty like that, Jose, isn't he? It also gives us fantastic options. Martial, Rashford, Lukaku, Sanchez, Mata, Lingard. Really good quality
it's an embarrassment of riches.
And it feels a little bit, I'm getting a little bit frustrated at the moment that everybody seems to have just said, you know what, Man City is so far ahead of everybody else should just give up. I know that Man City are going to win the league this year, but there's next year, there's the Champions League, the FA Cup. Jose Mourinho will still be battling right up to the depth. And yes, Man City have won the league, but come on everybody else, let's at least put a challenge in. And Alexis Sanchez goes a long way to making that challenge happen. But what do you guys at home think about the imminent transfer of Alexis Sanchez to Manchester United? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.
On to our winners and losers section now, where Scotty Young kicks us off on Twitter. He's put Tottenham in the winners, and rightly so as well, as they absolutely smashed Everton's back doors in 4-0 at home with 2 goals from Harry Kane, 1 from Son, who put in a ridiculous bit of skill in this game, didn't he? Ooh. Absolutely rickrolled someone, turned them into a jelly. And Christian Eriksen finished off proceedings. Kane's goal helped him become Spurs' all-time Premier League goal scorer with 98 goals, beating that of Teddy Sheringham, but he did it in 102 games fewer.
That's so good.
The Hurricane, he's now hit 20 league goals as well for the 4th year in a row. Only Shearer, who did it 4 times, and Thierry Henry, who did it 5 times, have managed that.
It's incredible.
Still a long way behind Jimmy Greaves though, who scored 266 goals. So that's the next landmark. Enjoy matching up to that Harry Kane. But the result was never in doubt in this game. Spurs had 62% possession, 20 shots against Everton's paltry 7. Spurs had 10 on target. Everton had a big fat 0. Embarrassing. And they look to be regressing, don't they? But you're going to talk about them a little bit. The Lily Whites are now unbeaten in 6 games after that dip in form that saw them slide down the table ever so slightly. They're still in 5th place, but in touching distance of Liverpool. Had Liverpool lost last night, they'd have been on the same total. So it's all to play for, isn't it, from 2nd to 5th. Joe, Son, as I just alluded to, good player, isn't he?
Well, a little bit of a good player, although I'm kind of surprised you can remember the game, mate. Absolutely battered at the time of the Tottenham.
I was lagered.
Absolutely battered the whole way through the game. Yeah, but Son, like you said, delicious bit of skill. He has been fantastic recently. He is such a consistent player for Tottenham Hotspur. He's actually become the 2nd player to score in 5 consecutive home games, only after Defoe, and that was in 2004.
Ooh,
incredible record. He's just so good on the ball. His final product is really good, and now he's getting involved in the goals as well. Dele Alli, just briefly mention him as well, because we've kind of said a few times that he's not quite the player he was last season. He's not quite made the step that we're hoping to make.
Or he's not having the same season.
Yeah, he's not having quite as good a season. But, however, he's actually already got 7 assists this season. Last season, he got 7 assists. And he's only done it in 22 games this season, so hopefully he can keep pressing on now in the back half of the campaign. But we've got to touch on the Toffees, haven't we? Starting with Tosun up front in his debut game. Didn't do too much, and they're not on the best form either. They haven't actually won in their last 6 matches now. 2 draws, 4 losses. The thinness of that squad is really starting to show. Only West Ham and Watford have conceded more goals than them too at this stage.
West Ham are 11th now.
I know. Jagielka and Ashley Williams, we've got to start looking at them. Are they good enough any longer? The likes of Kenny at right back as well. I know he's a young prospect, but is he quite ready for that first team action? I'm not too sure. I'm sure Toffees were expecting more of Michael Keane. I know he's had injury problems too, but not good enough all round from the Toffees. Everton, like you said, failed to get a shot on target, and that is actually the 4th time they've done that this season. That's the joint worst in the league with Swansea. Sam Allardyce really needs to start turning the situation around, because we don't want a slump to become a serious problem. And I'm sure he will, because he has a decent squad there, he's got a decent budget, so I'm sure he'll sign some players and they'll end up finishing around about mid-table. But for now, it's not really good enough from Everton. But for Tottenham, you're our first winners. For the first time this season, Manchester City are in our losers category. This one was suggested by Ander Williams on Twitter. Why though, Hamster?
Well, Joseph, they lost 4-3 at Anfield on a staggering Super Sunday night that unfortunately we were not there to witness because we're on the plane in Dublin Airport. Caught the first 20 minutes. Nothing really happened apart from Oxlade-Chamberlain's awesome goal. But anything for John Babb.
Anything for the Babb.
I wouldn't have missed it for any other man / owl, creature of the night. But yes, it was Manchester City's first loss in 30 Premier League games, including 22 this season. And as we just said, arguably the game of the season with both teams going all out. And
Hell for leather.
Part of me thinks that Pep doesn't mind losing to this sort of club.
Yeah, I think he said as much, yeah.
If you'd lost against Manchester United and you're sort of anti-Christ football,
Fuming.
maybe slightly different stance. But Liverpool, 16 shots, 7 on target. Manchester City, 11 shots, 6 on target. And City's defence, it was great to see them press for a change. They actually struggled, didn't they, under the high intensity pressure of Klopp's system. There was one part in it where Robertson, from left back, has done a cross-field press and eventually nearly won the ball.
It's unbelievable.
Off of Manchester City's
Pressed
left
about
back.
6 players.
Did he end up fouling John Stones?
Yeah, he fouled him, I think.
But, Christ, what an engine that kid's got on him. But not a huge surprise, as 11% of Pep's career losses have come from Jurgen Klopp's teams. There was times in Germany where Jurgen Klopp actually had the upper hand. Maybe not in the complexion of the whole league.
It's incredible.
Certainly in the individual battles, although Pep did beat him in that very memorable cup final, didn't he? Højbjerg played right back, I think. John Stones. 3 errors this season that have led to goals, the most of any defender in the league, although in Pep Guardiola's system, people are sort of more vulnerable to these individual errors, aren't they? We saw it with Di Michelis when, well, Di Michelis didn't play under Pep. We saw it with Di Michelis under Pellegrini when they sort of played a similar brand of football. With this one, is a little bit more high risk, although Pep does say, I defend so high to minimise risk, but, you know, and he probably knows more than me. Edison as well, making uncharacteristic mistakes for the 3rd goal, but what an effort from Mo Salah. And the goals all night were absolutely orgasmic. Please take over on that, Brett.
And you'd have to say Liverpool didn't really miss Coutinho as much as I was expecting in this game. The Fab 3, as they've suddenly become known. They were the Fab 4 a week ago, now the Fab 3. We're firing on all cylinders. Liverpool, they've actually scored 85 goals in all competitions this season. They only got 92 in the entirety of last season. That's an incredible statistic.
They scored about 18 against that team in the Champions League, didn't they?
Yeah, that's very true. They did score a hell of a lot. But Sadio Mane, a bit of redemption for him against the team he was sent off against earlier in the season. He bagged. Don't know whether he meant it. Did he mean to hit it in the top left?
I think he's got quite a strong, weaker foot, but you're right, he did sort of roll across it a little bit.
Rips across it, doesn't he?
What a finish. I was on my feet whilst watching the highlight.
But he actually loves playing against Manchester City, doesn't he? 5 goals, 1 assist, the most he has scored against any Premier League team, which is really impressive. Mo Salah just continues to roll on, no stopping him now. 24 goals, 7 assists.
What is Egyptian for Don?
I know, it's ridiculous. In 30 games in all competitions this season. Firmino as well. I actually think he's possibly the world's most complete number 9, or at least becoming the world's most complete number 9. 17 goals and 7 assists already this season. There's no stopping him. I hope Liverpool can hold on to him in the future and that he doesn't just bugger off and join Real Madrid or something like that. Props as well to Oxlade-Chamberlain, like you said, brilliant first goal, and to Robertson, who I think on the day, 7 tackles, 5 interceptions and 7 clearances, and Klopp called him the leader of the press. He was phenomenal. He's really locking down that left-back slot. I wasn't sure how good he was coming into this season, but he's proving a real point. So, props to Man City. No, props to Liverpool. I'm so tired. I'm so hungover. I don't even know what team it is. But Liverpool, no, Man City, you're our first losers. There we go. Finally.
Coffee's needed. Send help. Our final winner is the one and only Mo Sislak. It is David Moyes, and this comes from Ryan Zui Ollie. He's the fourth manager to do what, Joe?
Fourth manager to win 200 Premier League games, mate, and he's only lost 1 in his last 8. It's actually a remarkable turnaround for West Ham. They've really stopped the rot, haven't they? Because this was a thrashing of Huddersfield as well. 4-1 away at the Terriers is no mean feat. It really is no mean feat. Obviously goals from Noble, Arnautovic, who slightly turned it round now, and Lanzini with the double. They're up to 11th. They're 2 points off Everton, who we know are in free fall right now under big Sam Allardyce. They only had 35% possession, but they mustered 8 shots, of which 6 were on target.
Wow.
That's a really impressive conversion rate. And you'd have to say Arnautovic is experiencing one hell of a second wind. He started the season really very slowly, but in this game 2 assists and a goal, meaning he's now got 6 goals and 3 assists in just 18 games. That's a goal or assist every other match, about the same as Mesut Ozil, which is really impressive for a player who we weren't too sure about at the start of the season, were we? West Ham, though, now 8 points in their last 4 away games as well. That's a fantastic turnaround. Their away form was rotten under Slaven Bilic. That's as many as in their previous 15 matches combined. Fantastic work from David Moyes, because we'd almost written him off.
Yeah.
As a manager.
We sort of scoffed at his appointment, didn't we? Because it wasn't very uninspiring. The same way that Stokes' appointment of Paul Lambert, which has just happened right now, isn't
Very inspiring.
that inspiring. But you know, another Scotsman, another grey-haired Scotsman who might experience a second coming. So good luck, Paul Lambert, before we move into the section of Huddersfield. Huddersfield haven't won since the 16th of December now, which was a 4-1 away victory at Watford. Very impressive, that performance at Vicarage Road. But they've only got 2 wins now in their last 14 games. So if they don't pick up some form
relegation
soon,
form.
Things are looking ominous, aren't they? They've conceded 7 goals in those 2 games as well, having only conceded 6 in the previous 6, which is slightly more alarming, isn't it? Because if you're not scoring as a promoted team, fine, that's the most difficult thing to do. If you've got a solid base, you might survive on the basis of that. But plus point, they've got some new personnel on the field. Terence Kongolo made his debut. I think he's on loan from Monaco, and Alex Pritchard as well, who was in good form for a previous club. 7 goals in 36 games as an attacking midfielder for Norwich. Bit of a gamble though, coming off from the Championship. Will he make the step up? Who knows, only time will tell. Next up for Huddersfield though, they take on struggling Stoke on Saturday, so a great opportunity to turn their fortunes around. Whereas West Ham host the mighty Shrewsbury
The Shrews!
in the FA Cup, which is a replay from one of the worst games I've ever watched.
Oh my God.
Maybe on a par with Leicester Fleetwood.
No, Leicester Fleetwood was worse.
What was worse, Leicester Fleetwood or Shrewsbury West Ham?
Voting poll. Up there now.
Iconic poll, that is.
That's the worst poll we've ever done. Our final loser of the day was suggested by Ty_Wilf7 on Twitter, and he says, Chelsea hamster.
Oh, we've had some big hitters today, haven't we?
We have.
But this game was low on quality, my friend. One of the few games I can remember from Saturday. This was before I had that 2-hour blackout period. Did recover later though, because, you know, hashtag staying power.
I fell asleep for a section of this.
You
I
did.
believe. Yeah.
Yeah, you did. I mean, and who would blame you? It was absolutely abysmal. Yeah, he drew 0-0 with 10-man Leicester. 10-man Leicester, good English from me, after Ben Chilwell got sent off for 2 yellow cards. Meaning that the club have now failed to score in 3 consecutive games. I don't think Alvaro Morata even had a shot in this game. Too busy applying grease to his hair.
How much does he
doing?
use?
He's in
How
my
much?
fantasy football team.
Dax wax.
Sort it out, Alvaro. But yes, the first time they've recorded 3 consecutive 0-0s in their entire history.
What?
Stats of the weekend. They're actually yet to win in 2018. That's 4 matches. Is the Conte Mourinho spat affecting their performance? Probably not. It's probably the fact they're absolutely exhausted having had such a run of games. But it's not all bad. They've become the 2nd Premier League team to reach 400 clean sheets after Manchester United, and actually allowed, as you said, Leicester only 1 shot on target in this game. And they were dominant, weren't they? Overall, after that shaky first period, Joe, soon recovered. Second half, bit more of an even contest.
Yeah, it was a little bit of an even contest throughout the game, kind of, but Leicester had some great chances in that first half. They should have killed the game off when they had the chance. 55% possession, Chelsea actually had 17 shots, Leicester 14, which is a really, really high number. But like you said, the conversion rate for Leicester was pretty poor. 14 shots, 1 on target, not good enough. At least Chelsea had 7 on target. But you'd have to say Chelsea didn't create many clear-cut chances. There was a lot of shooting from range. I actually think they created a whopping 0 clear-cut chances in this game. Few Leicester players I want to talk about. Wilfred Ndidi. One player you really like, I know you've spoken about him on Sunday Vibes in the past, 82 touches is the second highest on the pitch behind Azpilicueta, who we know dictates a lot of play from the back. He also achieved an 86% pass accuracy, 9 tackles and interceptions, 2 take-ons, and he had a shot which he probably should have scored.
Yeah,
that was a great save from Courtois.
Terrible in front of goal, which, you know,
yeah,
I
think the header has to go in the side netting. But at the other end of the pitch, Alvaro Morata's bad form continues, doesn't it? There's been a lot made of Alexandre Lacazette's bad form, easy for you to say. But Morata is struggling too. He actually managed 0 shots in this entire game, like you said earlier. I mean, Pedro came on towards the back end, didn't he? And he managed 3.
Yeah.
Just looking a little bit fatigued. Maybe he's not used to that English schedule. Hopefully he finds his feet again soon. Chelsea's...
I do really like him.
Yeah, Chelsea's next 3 Premier League fixtures are Brighton, Bournemouth, Watford. They should be back to winning ways soon enough.
And if he doesn't score in that team, he's out of the fantasy team.
I know,
right? Against those teams.
because I will say, if Man United win tonight at Stoke, this is going to look a really poor result against Leicester. A really poor result. Conte needs to turn it around, because otherwise that hairpiece of his might just start falling out again. Personal dig there, no need for it.
That was the end of the show. If you've made it this far though, we have a very special announcement for you. By special, I mean devastating. I can confirm that John Babb is hanging up his ref shirt. He has a couple of Stat Wars left in him. That is how we account for time at Football Daily's units of Stat Wars. But rumours were circulating it was going to go to Copper Knight, it was going to TFR. In his own words, that would be a huge step down. He's going to retire, a little bit like Scholes. He's just heading off into the distance.
Yeah.
Joe,
Yeah.
you want to get him on our Twitter, don't you?
We do indeed. We're going to have Bab Hour when this show has gone live. If you tweet me and Chris Hamill your messages of goodbye, John Babb will personally respond with a tweet to you, hopefully, if he's around, if he's alive. Not seen him after Dublin. He was in an absolute mess.
Yeah.
So if he's alive and he's coming to the office, he will be tweeting his messages of response.
I've actually heard he's bought a barn somewhere and he's going to live out the rest of his life as an owl.
He might well do. But yeah, anyway, send us your tweets. Thanks so much for watching. I need a coffee. You need a coffee.